Good morning, all of you. I hope you're getting my voice. Okay. So as you know that today we are going to begin with our first revision, and the revision is of chapter number 1 and chapter 3. Before I begin it with the revision, I want to know, do you have any problem in these chapters, first chapter and third chapter? If you have any doubt, any query, you can put up your questions. Anyone has any kind of doubt or query in the first and the third chapter? No doubts. Okay. Now, as you know, the first chapter, it talks about the cell. Now, if I ask you what is a cell, who's going to answer me? What is a cell? Yes, Samriddhi, please unmute yourself.
Cell is the structural and functional unit of life.
Cell is the basic structural and the functional unit of life. Okay, everybody knows that. Now, when we say structural and functional unit, I hope everybody understands the meaning of structural and functional unit. When we call it as structural unit, that means each and every part of our body is made up of cell. Okay, when we say structural unit, that means each and every part of the living body is made up of cell. Is that clear? Then when we say functional unit, it means that whatever function the entire body is doing is conducted by each and every cell. Now, can anyone explain this point, that whatever function the entire body is doing is done by each and every cell? Can any one of you explain this point? What does this mean? Nobody. Parth and Himesh. Yes, Himesh, please unmute yourself.
Miss, this statement means that if we take out a single cell, then we can observe that it performs all the function like respiration, reproduction, and all that, which all living beings can do.
Very good. It means that if we take a single cell from the body and if we observe it, we will find whatever function the entire body is doing, like growth. Okay, growth is there, excretion is there, digestion is there. All the process which entire body is doing is done by a single cell also. This is the meaning of functional unit. Okay, then as you know, there was who discovered cell? It was discovered by Robert Hooke in the year 1665. And where he discovered it? He discovered in the cork of a cork means the dead cell. Okay, Robert Hooke was the person who discovered the dead cell. Can you name a scientist who discovered the living cell? Which scientist discovered the living cell? Yes, Parth, please unmute yourself.
Antony von Leeuwenhoek.
Antony von Leeuwenhoek was the person who discovered the first living cell. Okay, cell theory. Any doubt in cell theory? Among cell theory, the third point, you can say cell theory, basically it is said that it has been postulated by two scientists. Okay, what are those? That's Matthias Sheldon and Theodore Schwann. But as you know, one more scientist has given one very important point, that every new cell arises from the pre-existing cell. And who was that scientist? The name of the scientist was Rudolf Virchow. Okay, Rudolf Virchow was the scientist who gave out or who postulated a very important point, that every new cell arises from the pre-existing cell. Is that clear? Now, viruses, if you see exception of cell theory, I've already informed you about the viruses. How viruses are different from other microorganisms. Can any one of you tell me that? Why only 3 were there in the class when I have explained that point? Yes, Aditi, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Ma'am, viruses are considered as between a line between living and non-living. Means when they get their host, only then they reproduce and do their activities. And while they are not with their host, they are like dead cells.
Okay. They are like
Dead organisms.
organisms.
Microorganisms.
Okay. Yes, Ujjwal. Mute yourself, Aditi. Ujjwal, please unmute yourself. Yeah, Ujjwal. Yes, beta. Please tell.
The viruses, when they get favorable conditions, then they act like living organisms, and when the conditions are not favorable, then they act like non-living substances and do not perform any activity.
Yes, viruses are called as a link between living and mute yourself, Ujjwal, is a link between living and non-living. Why? Because viruses, when they are in the surrounding, when they are in the air, when they're in the water, they are considered as particles. First of all, we call viruses as particles. We do not call them as microorganism, or we do not call them as organism. So please keep in mind, viruses are always referred as particles. Okay, these lifeless particles, when they are in the surrounding, when they are in the air, they do not have any means, they won't show any sign of being living. Once they get entry into a living body, once they attack a living body, it can be a plant body, it can be a human body, or it can be any microorganism also. Viruses not only attack plants and animals, but they attack back even the other microorganisms. So once they gain entry into the body of other living thing, they start replicating. And how do they replicate, or how do they divide? Because they attack the nucleus part. If you remember, nucleus was the place where genetic material is present. So they attack on the nucleus part and they start dividing. Okay, they start dividing at a very faster rate. So that is why viruses are considered as a link between living and non-living. Is that clear to you? Any problem on this page? Page number 9. I hope everybody understands what are unicellular organisms, what are multicellular organisms. You know it or not? Okay. Coming to shape, how the cell shape and size suit various functions. You know that whatever shape and size a particular cell is having, it is showing what kind of function it does. Okay, it's not that without any reason it has been given a particular shape. No, every shape the cell attains, every size the cell attains is responsible for its function. Okay, whatever function it is performing. Then coming to structural organization of cell. You know, every cell is divided into how many parts? Just quickly, please give the answer. How many parts a cell is divided? It is divided into, yes, Rashika?
Yes, ma'am. Cell membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm.
Every cell is divided into 3 parts, that is cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Okay, among that, if you talk about various like mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum, these all are found, or these all are the organelles which are found floating in the cytoplasm. Now, who will explain cell membrane? Who is going to explain the cell membrane? What is a cell membrane? The key points of the cell membrane, not everything, only the key points I want to. Yes, Dave, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, Miss.
Morning, beta.
Miss, cell membrane act as a selectively, it is permeable. Miss, it allows the necessary particle.
First of all, it is a single membrane or double membrane?
Miss, it is a double membrane.
It is a double membrane made up of?
Miss, it is made up of the cytoplasm.
Made up of cytoplasm. What is cell membrane made up of? Who's going to answer that? What is cell membrane made up of? Yes, Parth.
Ma'am, proteins and lipids.
It is made up of proteins and lipids. If you are not knowing, please write it down. It is a lipoprotein layer, means made up of lipid and protein. Dave, where did you go? You have to give rest of the answer. He went off. Okay. Yes. Then who else will explain about the cell? Yes, Ayushi. Please unmute yourself. Ayushi Srivastava.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, cell membrane is a double membrane structure. It is very thin and it is selectively permeable. That is, it allows only certain substances to pass through it. And it is so small that it can be seen only under a microscope. It is formed of lipids and proteins and misfunction also.
No, not no need. I think now everything is being told by her. It is, first of all, it is the outermost layer of the cell, okay, which is made up of, which is double membrane, which is made up of lipid and protein. It is selectively permeable. Everybody knows the meaning of selectively permeable means which is allowing only the useful things to pass in and the harmful things to come out of the cell. Is that clear to you? Then it's like a you can say cell membrane is giving a shape, a particular shape to the cell. Then next comes cell wall. Who is going to explain cell wall? What is the cell wall? Yes, Adarsh, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, beta.
Miss, cell wall is found only in plant cell. Miss, they are formed of cellulose, and miss, they form a protective covering outside the plasma membrane. Miss, it is highly permeable, which allows all the substances to pass in and out. And miss, it protects the bursting of plants in hypotonic medium, in which means that when the water content is more, then it protects the cell, and it gives definite shape and rigidity to the plant cell.
So I think everybody has heard what Adarsh told. He told each and every point. It is the outermost part of the plant cell. It is highly permeable, made up of cellulose. Okay, it is the one which is giving support, or you can say rigidity, to the cell. Okay, and it does not do any work of stopping the things. All the work of stopping the things or allowing the things to come inside, it is done by the cell membrane. Okay. Now coming about in the structure of nucleus. First of all, anyone has any problem in understanding nucleus? What is a nucleus? Anyone has any problem in understanding the nucleus? Yeah, who's going to explain me the nucleus? Okay. Yes, Parth, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, nucleus is the main part of the cell, and which controls each and every that function of the cell. It was discovered by Robert Brown, and it has mainly 3 to 4 parts, like nuclear membrane, then nucleoplasm, chromatin network, and nucleolus. 4 parts. Okay. Then the nuclear membrane is double membrane with bits in it known as nuclear pores, and nucleoplasm is grayish in color. The nucleolus forms ribosomes which help in protein synthesis, and the chromatin network contain DNA which contain for the genes which are hereditary material for which are transferred from one generation to another generation.
Is anyone would like to add anything to whatever Parth told? Anyone would like to add anything, whatever Parth has said? If yes, Ujjwal, you want to add to it? Okay, yes, unmute yourself.
Ma'am, the chromatin network, it forms at the time of cell division. It forms chromosomes which contain genes.
Yes.
And the nuclear membrane and the nucleolus, they get disappear at the time of cell division.
Yes, what it means if you say that cell membrane is forming this nucleus is in the nucleus we have a chromatin network, and that chromatin network condenses at the time of cell division. Okay, a part of it, the lower part of it, get condensed. Condensed means get thickened up during the before it enters into the phase of cell division, and that condensed part is known as chromosomes, which are containing the genes which are responsible for transferring the characters from the parents to the offspring. Okay, anything else, any point which Parth and the Ujjwal have missed out and you want to say? Then only raise your hand, otherwise put your hands down. Lower your hands. Ayushi, want to say anything? Yes, Ayushi, unmute yourself.
Miss, chromosomes are made of nucleic acids and proteins.
That chromosomes are made up of nucleic acid and protein. That is, but basic structure of nucleus is clear to you people or not? Whenever you are going to explain the nucleus, you have to keep in mind that you move in a sequence, in a proper sequence. And what is that sequence? The sequence goes like this. That first you have to explain the nuclear membrane. Second, you have to explain nucleoplast. Then you have to explain chromatin network. And the last is nucleolus. Sequence which you need to follow whenever you are explaining the nucleus. Please, all of you, write this sequence. Write it so that you understand how are you going to explain. First nuclear membrane, then the nucleoplast, then the chromatins, and then finally the nucleolus. Written? Yes. Then coming to protoplasm and cytoplasm. Who is going to tell the difference between protoplasm and cytoplasm? What is the basic difference between protoplasm and cytoplasm? Only one child. Yes, Jagrati, please unmute yourself.
Protoplasm is the living part of the cell. It is semi-fluid and cytoplasm is a part of protoplasm.
What else you can say? What else is the difference between protoplasm and cytoplasm?
Miss, cytoplasm is always in a state of movement.
Just mute yourself. Mute yourself. Okay, Rajnandani, please unmute yourself.
Miss, cytoplasm has cell organelles, whereas Miss protoplasm has the cytoplasm and nucleus.
What is the basic difference? I want to know whenever if somebody asks to you, what is the basic difference between the cytoplasm and the nucleoplasm? Yes, Ani, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, beta.
Ma'am, protoplasm is a jelly-like semi-fluid substance, whereas cytoplasm is a watery, transparent substance.
Write it down. Write it down. The basic difference, if somebody asks to you, the difference between cytoplasm and protoplasm, the first difference is that protoplasm represents a living cell. Protoplasm represents a living cell and cytoplasm represents a dead cell. That is the basic difference between the protoplasm and cytoplasm. Protoplasm is depicting the living cell and cytoplasm depicts a dead cell. Now, protoplasm is a combination of cytoplasm and nucleus, and cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance which is found in the cell and where we find different cell organelles. Okay. The biggest difference, what I told was that, see, till the time cell is living, we cannot call the content as cytoplasm or nucleus. There we give a term protoplasm. That means we are unable to differentiate between the cytoplasm and the nucleus, and that is why we have given a terminology protoplasm. Once the cell becomes dead, okay, once the cell is dead, cytoplasm gets surrounded around the nucleus, and nuclear content goes into the nucleus and the cytoplasm separates. Then only we will be able to differentiate, okay, this is the cytoplasm part and this is the nucleus part. if till the time the cell is living, you cannot differentiate between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Is that clear to you? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Then all the organelles, just all the organelles, do you have any problem in any of the organelles? Quickly turn this, go through it. If you have any problem, please ask. Any problem in the organelles? Any problem? Yes, Anupul, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am. Ma'am, please tell the difference between ma'am cytoplasm and protoplasm. Due to network error, I go out, ma'am.
Cytoplasm is found in the dead cells. Okay, it represents a dead cell, and new protoplasm represents a living cell. Till the time cell is living, we cannot differentiate that this is cytoplasm and this is the nucleus part, because continuous exchange of material is going on within the cell. Okay, so it is very difficult to tell that this is the cytoplasm part and this is the nucleus part. Once the cell is dead, or it means it has died, then what happens? The nucleus content gets gathered into the nucleus, and the cytoplasm surrounds the nucleus. Then only we are able to differentiate between the cytoplasm and the nucleoplasm. But if the cell is living, we cannot differentiate. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Akshara, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, beta.
Mr. Workbook, one question is given. Oxysomes are found in dash.
Oxysomes are found in dash. I think I gave the answer mitochondria, na? It is mitochondria. Okay. Yes. Yes, Rajnandani, please unmute yourself, beta.
Miss, why in mature plants large vacuole is found?
Large vacuole, because so that the cell becomes turgid. Mature plants, if the cell is going to become very turgidity totally depends on the vacuoles. Okay, if the cell is not becoming very turgid, then its function in that opening and closing of stomata will be affected. So that is why these cells should be having large vacuoles, so that they have proper amount of turgidity. Is that clear to you? Yes. Any other problem in the cell organelles? Otherwise, did you go through the cell organelles? Any problem to any one of you? Yes, Ujjwal, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, in the Golgi apparatus.
Yeah, yes, please do ask.
Ma'am, in the Golgi apparatus, what is the main function of the Golgi apparatus? That I can't understand.
Golgi apparatus, if you see, it produces and stores cell secretions such as mucus, enzymes, and hormones. Means basically it is responsible for the production of enzymes and hormones. Is that clear to you? Mucus, you know what is mucus? Do you know what is mucus, Ujjwal? Who is going to tell what is mucus? Yes, Mayank, please unmute yourself and tell.
It helps in lubrication.
Yeah, pardon?
It help in lubrication.
Lubrication. If you have mucus, means it is a sticky secretion which is helping in lubricating. So that mucus and enzymes and hormones, they all are being secreted by whom? By the Golgi apparatus. For formation of lysosomes, if you remember, lysosomes are there in animal cell. You know the work of the lysosome is what? It is a one which is helping in cleaning the cell. Okay. Then that also is done by this. Lysosomes are also produced by the Golgi apparatus. Now, formation of cell plate during cell division. See, in animal cell, what happens? When the cell has to divide, centrosome appears, and centrosomes initiates the process of cell division. But in plant cell, this centrosome is absent. Then at the in plant cell, how is the division taking place? In plant cell, when the cell has to divide, a plate comes. Okay, a plate is formed, and that plate is formed because of the Golgi apparatus. These Golgi apparatus help in the formation of this particular plate. Is that clear to you? Which is helping in cell division. Then any other problem in any of these cell organelles? Yes, Rashika, please unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. In animal cell, can we say sometimes no vacuole is present and sometimes small vacuole?
Most of the time, no vacuole. If at all a vacuole is present, it is going to be very, very small, and it is going to be present somewhere in the corner, in the periphery. Okay, that one more difference. I think everybody knows the difference between plant cell and animal cell. If a diagram is given to you, you yourself can differentiate that which is the plant cell and which is the animal cell. Do you know it or not? Without, if the labeling is not given in the two diagrams. Suppose if I draw two diagrams over here. I'm drawing two diagrams. This is the A1. And this is the P1. Can you please tell me which is the plant cell and which is the animal cell?
A1.
A1 is what?
Plant cell.
Why? Why do you say A1?
Because it has large vacuole.
It has a large vacuole in the center. What about the P1? What does it have in the center?
Nucleus.
It is the animal cell which has nucleus in the center. Okay, that is the difference between a plant cell and animal cell.
Ma'am, one question more. In workbook, it is given animal cells have option A no vacuole, option B small vacuoles.
Which page number? Please tell me the page number.
Page number 7.
Animal cells, you can write small vacuoles. Okay, that's better. Because sometimes in animal cells, vacuoles are present.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, mute yourself. Yes, Anukul. Please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, if plant cell is dead or animal cell is dead, we can classify all the parts through microscope.
Yes, yes. Through the electron microscope, not through the normal microscope, but through the electron microscope, we can study each and every part of the cell once it is dead. But till the time it is living, it is very difficult to understand the different organelles of the part of the cell. Clear?
Ma'am, why when plant is living we can have difficulty to find the parts?
Reason is that they are continuously in a movement. Exchange of material is going on from one cell to other cell and within the cell also. From cytoplasm to the nucleus, from nucleus to the cytoplasm, then from one cell to others. There is a continuous movement. For example, I'll just give you one example. That suppose it is a recess time when you were coming to the school and it was an interval time. All the students were out of the class. Can you differentiate that this is a class 6 student, this is a 7th class student, or the student is from 6th A or 6th B? If you do not know them, can you find it out? Can you find it out?
No, ma'am.
Why? Because there is continuous movement. They move from one place to another. Sometimes they'll stand in front of 6th A, sometimes they'll go and stand in front of 6th B or 6th C. They are continuously moving. But once they break and they settle down in their respective classes, then it is easy to find it out that which child is from which section or class, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Same thing happens with the
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Amrita, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, ma'am. Miss, what is dictosomes?
Dictosomes are, see in plants and Golgi apparatus content of several interconnected subunits called dictosomes, and I had a point over there that they are the ones which are storing the protein, modifying, okay, and they are helping in the transportation of proteins. They are helping in the transportation of proteins. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, everyone, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, I have a doubt in workbook, chapter number 2, cell a unit of life.
Okay,
Ma'am, Ma'am, page number 5, take the correct answer. Ma'am, C question, third. Ma'am, I have Selena workbook.
Okay, you didn't say the question because this is another workbook. Say the question.
One of the following is present in the animal cells only: cell wall, plastids, centriole, or chloroplast.
Centriole.
Centriole.
The
So,
answer-
ma'am, there is no difference between Selena workbook and Srijan workbook.
No difference is there. And that question is not there in this Srijan workbook. This is Goel Brothers. Okay, this is Goel Brothers. In this book, that question is not there.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So I hope no problem in understanding the various cell organelles. Now, if you know the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, who is going to tell me quickly the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic? Take it fast because we have to revise one more chapter, flower one. Yes, Rajnandini, please unmute yourself, beta.
Miss, prokaryotic cells have primitive type of nucleus, whereas eukaryotes have well-defined nucleus.
Okay, that is the basic difference. That prokaryote, when you say primitive kind of nucleus, what do you mean by that, Rajnandini? Please unmute yourself and say.
Miss, the nucleus is not well defined. Miss, it is
Nuclear membrane is missing.
Yes, ma'am.
Membrane is missing, but nuclear content is present in the form of what? In the form of single thread of DNA or RNA. Okay, it is in a condensed, it is found in a particular area, and that is that in the form of a single thread of DNA or single thread of RNA. Is that clear to you? Yes. Any other thing which is there to understand between prokaryote and eukaryote? You have problem in understanding? If you have problem, then only raise the hand. Otherwise, Akshara, problem is there? I think now you can easily differentiate between plant cell and animal cell. You can differentiate, isn't it? Yes. Then we have already discussed the exercises of this particular chapter. Have we discussed it or not? Yes. Now moving on to the third chapter, that is flower chapter. Now before I move on to this flower chapter, I just want to know that in the workbook, any problem is there to any one of you in chapter number 1? Oh, sorry, chapter 1 and 2. Any problem to anyone? Have we done the exercises of this particular chapter? Chapter 3. Have we discussed the exercises of this particular chapter 3? Nobody is answering. Open concept check number 1. Open concept check number 1. Yes. All have opened? Who is going to answer that true and false? Yes, Anushka Sharma, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, first one is true.
A typical flower has 4 whorls. The answer is true. Second one. If you are saying the answer, say all the answer together.
Ma'am, second one is true.
Second one is again true.
Third one is also true.
Third is also true.
Is also true. Fifth one is false, and sixth true.
In bougainvillea, bracts are large and green. That is false. Fourth one is false. They are not green, they are colorful. Okay.
False.
Sepals and petals are absent in neuter flowers. That is also false. In polypetalous corolla, the petals are united. That is true. Okay. Yes. All of you have done that. Now come to concept check number 2. Who's going to give the answers? Yes, Akshara, please unmute yourself.
The first one is false.
Yeah.
The second one is true.
Yes.
Third one is true.
Wait. First is false. Second is true. Third one?
True.
True.
Fourth one true and fifth one also true.
Fourth one is true. And fifth one is also true. Yes. Now come to give one word answer of the following. Adarsh, would you like to give the answers? Yeah. Please unmute yourself.
Morning, Miss.
Morning.
Miss, first one will be complete flower.
Yes, for first you can have different name. You can call it as complete flower. You can call it as bisexual flower. You can call it as hermaphrodite. Even that is correct. 3 names can be given over there. So you write all the 3 names. Complete flower, bisexual flower or hermaphrodite.
Second one I start.
Wait, they are writing, I suppose they are writing. Yes,
Okay,
second
yes.
one you tell.
Miss, then second one will be monodelphous stamens.
Filaments are united to form single staminal tube, that is
Monodelphous stem.
monoadelphous. Okay, monoadelphous.
Miss, monodelphous.
Then axis bearing a group of flowers.
Inflorescence.
That is inflorescence. C1 is inflorescence. Sepals and petals of the same color.
Perianth or tepal.
Perianth.
Yes, miss. And Miss, last one polycarpillary.
It is polycarpillary. The last one is polycarpillary. Yes, come to fill in the blanks. Yes, Achintya. Will you give the answers or fill in the blanks? Achintya. Okay, unmute yourself.
Miss, first one is complete.
First one is complete flower. Again, there you can write 3 names. The 3 names which I have told, there all the 3 names you can write. Yes, next one.
Bicarpillary.
It is bicarpillary. Second one. Third.
Staminate.
C1 is staminate flower.
Then receptacle.
Small leafy structures below sepals. Receptacles. What it is? It's not receptacles. What is the answer? Who will tell the correct answer? Yes, Pushkar, please tell the correct answer.
Miss Bracts.
It is bracts. The correct answer is bract. Okay, Achintya, make the correction. Then last one.
Signaceous.
Fused anther and free filament in stamen is that is signaceous. Signaceous. Okay. Then come to multiple choice question. Multiple choice question. Who's going to give the answer? Yes, Tash. Sania, will you give the answer? Yeah, please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, first is a calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynosium.
Yes, please. First one is calyx. Let me see. In a typical complete bisexual from the outer. Yes, calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynosium. Second one.
And D has a large, colorful bract.
And second one has a large, colorful bract.
Bract.
Okay. Now I hope everybody has got the same answer. Okay, that is why I have discussed the answer so that there is no confusion that everybody has made the correction. If anywhere your answer was wrong, they have made the correction. Everybody has done that? Okay. Now, any problem in this chapter? I don't think so that there shouldn't be any problem in this particular chapter. Anyone is facing any problem in this chapter? Yes, Sania, problem?
No.
Unmute yourself. Utkarshita, please unmute yourself.
Good morning, Miss.
Morning, beta.
Miss, please, you can repeat the answers of concept check number 1.
Okay, write it down.
Yes, Miss.
A typical flower has 4 whorls. It is true. The calyx and corolla are non-reproductive whorls of the flower. True. Bract is a leaf-like structure that arises in the axil of the flower. True. In Bougainvillea, bracts are large and green. False. Sepals and petals are absent in neutral-flower. False. In polypetalous corolla, the petals are united. That is true.
Okay, miss. Thank you, miss. Thank you, miss.
Yes. Yes, Parth. Please unmute yourself.
Ma'am, in polypetalous corolla, the petals must be three, no?
In polypetalous corolla, the petals are, it is false. It is false. It is false. Okay, by mistake. Sixth one is false. Then in this particular chapter, if you see the diagrams, first the structure of the flower, that is one of the most important diagram. Okay, then coming to cohesion of stamens. In cohesion of stamens, you won't get all the ones, but you may get one and the questions may come on the basis of it. Are you getting me? That it's not that nobody is going to ask you to draw the cohesion of stamens. No, you may get one of it and then you may get questions based on it. Is that clear to you? Is it clear or not? Like you may get which what is label this particular diagram or identify the diagram and then what it represents, define the give the definition of this particular diagram. Such kind of questions may come. Fine. And then figure 3.9, a typical carpel. That is also important. Then if you move to chapter number 1, let me tell you the important diagrams of that chapter. In chapter 1, first figure 1.5, 1.6, 1.5, 1.6, figure 1.8, 1.10, 1.8, 1.10, 1.11, 1.12, and the prokaryotic cell. That is figure 1.17. When I say important, that means you have to practice these diagrams. Please practice these diagrams. They can come in the examination. Either they can be asked to draw or they can come in the form of what they can come as a skill-based question. Means that particular, if this particular diagram is given and you may get questions based on it. I hope everybody is practicing skill-based question. Are you practicing it? Because once we got your copy, I understood that you people are not writing skill-based question. Many of them have skipped, but please children, please keep practice of skill-based question because that comes in the examination. Skill, if you turn the pages, if you see the question papers of last year's, if the board question paper also, if you see, you will find that questions were there, skill-based questions were there. And one more suggestion I would like to tell you, if any from anywhere, if you could arrange this Selena book, if your elder brothers or sisters were studying here in the school, and because that during that time Selena book was there, once please refer Selena book also. Selena book is very, means if you take it as a side book, it will be very, very useful for you. Is that clear? If you take the Selena, if you could arrange the Selena not workbook, but the Selena book, it will be very useful for you. It is going to be an additional benefit for you to prepare for your board examinations. Is that clear? If you could arrange it, I'm not telling that everybody should purchase it. No, if you could arrange, if you are living in a same locality, 4 or 5 people are living in a same locality, you can use that book. You can use that book. You can go through the chapters. You will find many things are being explained over there, and that book is really one of the good book. You can have a reference of Selena book also. Is that clear to you? Any problem in chapter 1 and 3? No problem. So next revision we will be doing of chapter number 2. Next revision we will be doing of chapter 2. Is that clear? That is on Thursday. Yeah, as you know, Saturday is going to be a study leave. Okay, Saturday is going to be a study leave. So Thursday, please, you have to revise, means you go through all 3 chapters, chapter 2, chapter 4 and chapter 5. Go through it, means that means if you are facing any problem, please do ask on Thursday. Because now we will be getting only one more turn, and that is on Thursday, and 3 chapters are there. So basic first, my means I want to say at least chapter number 2, read it well, because that is the chapter which is very big and it's a very complicated one. Okay, chapter 4 and chapter 5, no complication is there, but so that is why please go through these chapters and please put up your queries or doubt in the next class. Is that clear? So this was all from my side. Okay, I hope that you are revising well, you are preparing well for your examination. Again, a gentle reminder, please go through all the chapters. If again still some doubt is there, put up your queries in the next class. Is that clear? Thank you, students, for attending the class.